All right, traders, to watch this video for Monday, July 15th. Another great day of teamwork in chat. And if you weren't there, I'm going to show you something real quick that you missed. This was Wayne's overstock call, and I've highlighted the reasons for the call. Many of you will recognize this setup. I put a line right there. Yesterday's high, which would have been Thursday's high. I'm making this video on Sunday. And then the early high on Friday. Then you had that little cup and handle. Seller on the tape at 18.29. I thought it was at 18.30 when I put this out, but it was 18.29. Trigger price then through that seller 18.30. Why? Two potential catalysts just above. High of daybreak, yesterday's high, right? Two potential catalysts, stacked catalysts just above. But that's not in a vacuum. That's obviously also because overstock has been in play. Look at this move. Look how hot overstock's been lately. So those three things combined is what put it on Wayne's radar. And there, right there, you can see the 1830 break. It ends up going up to 1975. I feel like every day I'm just doing a highlight of Wayne's great calls. I also want to highlight for you folks that are interested in trading pre-market. I've had a couple really nice pre-market trades last week, and this was my second one. The other one was what, CEI, I think. Anyway, grabbed it at 123 in pre-market. Sold some at 148, some at 161, and some at 182. And it's very rare for me to trade in pre-market. But there's been a couple really nice movers lately. Anyway, what are we watching for Monday? And again, I can't say enough. The teamwork's been amazing. So the SPY sitting at all-time highs. Oh, man, real quick. Speaking of Wayne, and this is, I'm not proud of this, but I left early on Friday. OHRP probably looked like this. When I left for the day, I said, you guys, I'm sick of watching paint dry. Have a good weekend, right? I get a text from Wayne later, said you should have stayed, because he called that one through that seller at 5 with, you know, 1, 2 catalysts on the chart just above. And you had that extra benefit of a Friday afternoon where shorts got to cover when it won't roll over. They like to cover before the weekend. Big move there. Wayne called that one. And Tesla, Wayne called this one through 244. It is like the Wayne highlight reel every day lately. And again, both of those kind of rallied in the last 15 minutes, I think, based on just late week short covering. Anyway, a couple great calls there too. All right, anyway, what am I watching for Monday? UXIN, very unusual volume and trying to kind of break out of this cup and handle. We'll see if we get any kind of red to green setup on an intraday basis on Monday. Solo had this big spike 4 sessions ago, really kind of flagging right below that whole number 3. Sort of interesting if we get volume through 3. AXGT, I'm not in love with this one because it's, excuse me, it's really obscure. You did have big volume, like a month ago when it had that big gap up. And it definitely found support and then broke out and got really close to breaking 8. And then you had this quiet inside day on Friday. Again, I'm not in love with this one at all. It's just too light in volume, but I'm going to throw it on a chart nonetheless. EVOK. You have this island down here that after the gap down topped out pretty close to 98 cents. You had this big cup and handle over the course of about 3 months. Here it hit $1. So, you know, if it could get above this little flag, it might just rip through $1, give a nice little squeeze. So I do want to watch that one. CEI, let me zoom in so you can see this chart. Had this crazy move 4 sessions ago, 239 to 947, and then after the next couple of days, it almost round tripped. So I really took my eyes off this one because for me, and I'll take Friday's candle out of it. For me, almost everybody's underwater, right? After this big pop, almost anybody who held this is underwater. These generally don't get any kind of secondary bounce when they round trip like this. And then it doesn't look like much here, but when I show you on 5s, if you weren't there on Friday, it had this massive move. I mean, I'll give you some numbers. It went from 318 all the way to 543 before it ended up giving, you know, a big chunk of that back. But because it did this, and I was extremely surprised by this move, because it did this, even though now you have this kind of big topping tail, I do think it's worth watching on Monday and really all week because it's getting these big spikes, right? SOLY, very strong stock lately, and now we've got a red candle on a little bit lower volume. I'd like to see another red day, but we'll see. Sometimes you get a really strong move, you get one red day and it's right back off to the races. So that one goes on watch. RVLT had this big move. This is another example of a big volume day, but it gave most of it back the next day, you know, closed below its open. so I don't love it, but it never did break its early high, right, on Friday. So there's the early high, and it never broke it. Something like this that does have this big move, the next day or the day after that or the day after that, if you get an afternoon breakout, they can be kind of powerful, so I am going to watch this one. Dry ships is kind of obscure. Had a big volume spike 4 sessions ago, but a big volume spike for dry ships anymore is 2 million shares. But it did kind of find a bottom and it's starting to curl back up. So we'll keep our eyes on that. If it does break out and I don't catch a clean setup, we'll look to the other shippers as well. They tend to move as a group. ONVO, I don't love this one either, but it had big volume here that took it to 55 cents and it's kind of cup and handily. So we'll see. It did have, I think, some decent news this day, and it hasn't really rolled over, so it's interesting, over 55 cents. Where am I? KPTI did bounce like we were looking for on Friday and closed pretty strong. So we're going to watch that for a follow through. Maybe it's up from here. Who knows? EROS, kind of obscure, but let's see here. It popped to $1.88. Let's see right here. It hit $1.93. I don't know. This is kind of after getting really beaten up. It had a big volume bounce this day and it's really kind of sideways since. So I almost want to see like a high volume push through too, and I might get involved. Anyway, it didn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. And then MAXR, I'm going to pan out a little bit because I do like this one a lot. Had this really nice volume back here, nice volume here, right? Remember when it struggled with 9? Finally broke through it here and basically hit 10. The exact number is 10.05, but this is a nice move followed by a flag pattern and a whole number 10. If it gets through 10, you've got a break of 10.05 as a catalyst, and you've got one of my other favorite things, the 200-day above, which can sometimes act as a magnet. So you've got basically a recent hot stock, a nice chart formation, and a possible 200-day magnet. All right, that's my entire list going into Monday. We'll add some gappers in the pre-market like we always do. Man, let's keep up the great teamwork. The chat room has become as good a scanner as trade ideas because there's so many people knowing what to look for, spotting it, and selflessly posting the ideas before they trigger. So it's a joy to log in every day and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll see you all in chat tomorrow.